How did you find out about Yield School?
Well, like everything else, I've been surfing the YouTube. Since I've gotten older, Frank, I converse with younger people. I converse with baby boomers. There's a ton of us hitting the market, and I'm in that field right now. I still work in Medicare as a licensed agent for Medicare insurance. So it blows my mind how many seniors are not even computer literate. That's the part that really shocks me. And then the other part is that they're so turned off by this transition. And for me, life is constantly learning. It's always been that way for me since I was in my 20s, and I've always tried to stay in the times, as things progress. My dad worked for United Parcel Service. He used to tell me that all the time. He said, continue to read books and continue to grow, because computers one day are going to take over. And this was like in the 70s. He was telling me this. And he was right. He hit it right on the head that everything is going into this area. But the digital part, I missed the Bitcoin part of it. I missed all of that. I mean, I had people, I get flashes of it in the news, and I really didn't. I guess I was too busy with life. So this is how I found you. I went on YouTube and I said, well, there's a bunch of young people on there that are talking about crypto and, all of these changes as far as computers. And I said, I think that's who I'm going to have to really partner with in order to learn this thing. But you don't know who to partner with, because and that's what makes your program so valuable to me, because I was just looking for someone I could trust. Everybody wants the $2-3 grand, get you in the program, and then there's no customer service, there's no support. And I needed somebody to really, I shouldn't say hold my hand, but I needed somebody to just kind of take me down that path and say, okay, this is how you organize things. This is the path you want to follow, or these are the choices that you have. And then you can decide from there and learn this whole thing about crypto, because I don't want to be afraid of it and miss the whole thing. I missed Bitcoin. And when I saw your presentation, you were the one that really sold me on it, let me know that there were two markets. I always kind of knew that about the stock market, that there was an underlying market that wasn't accessible to us as U.S. citizens. Here we are, Americans, we can't access that unless you know someone. Well, that's another thing, that I learned, coming up as a young man, is that there are markets like that, but who's going to share that with you? And when you gave your presentation and convinced me there's a primary market and a secondary market, I said, I think this is the guy. I think this is the program that I need to get involved in, because I was spinning my wheels. I spent about $15,000-$20,000 on these different programs, and that's a combination of them over the last 3 years. They were fruitless. I mean, there was no follow-up. I didn't get the results that I wanted to get. I missed the 4-year thing with Bitcoin. I missed that in 2021. I missed that. Now, I wasn't prepared in 2017 because I didn't know very much about it. I didn't get involved with cryptos until the pandemic. And I think the reason why was because I was so busy working 8 hours a day that all my energy was going into that. And then when I would get out of work, the wife is, wanting attention. So, so it's like when I make time for this, and who can I connect with that I could trust? And that was you. That was you and your company. So I got a great feeling from that. Yeah, I got a great feeling from that. And I didn't even tell my wife. I kept all of this to myself. I said, you know what? I'm not going to say anything to anyone. I'm going to go into this. And I've never really put, I put $1,000 here or $2,000, but I never really, and I've always believed in myself. I never really put a large amount of capital into myself, into my own education.
Mm.
And I said to myself for 2025, I told myself in 2024, I said, if I find someone in a program I can trust, no matter what the price is, I'm going to invest it. As long as I believe that I can trust them, I'm going to do it. And you were the one that came through. And I've seen, and I'm not just saying this because I'm on a presentation with you. I've talked to a lot of companies. I've gone into the, the one-on-ones, and they try and sell you and upsell you, and still didn't convince me. I wouldn't budge. But I knew just from looking at your first presentation, this was without going into the second phase where they call you and they talk with you. I was convinced. So I thank you. Yeah, I thank you for the way you delivered it. It came across crystal clear for me.
Yeah, I'm glad that we started off with your trust, Alphonso. Would you say that the biggest problem you were facing was not knowing who to trust? Was that the core problem?
Well, for me, it is. That's with everything, and unfortunately, we live in a time and age, and I noticed it with my parents, is that you really have to invest in yourself. I go to the doctor may say, you have this or you have that. You may go to an attorney, he says you may have to do this, but you really have to follow up and do your own homework. Is this the right choice for me? Because they're in a business too, and they're trying to make money. They don't necessarily have your health as their priority. See, because for me, I take things seriously. This is the way I look at things. I'm in the Medicare field. I vowed to take care of my client, not based on what's best for me, but what's best for my client. So that's the trust that I have to develop when a phone call comes to me. I only have a certain window of time to do that. And I have to communicate that to that person and says, hey, because they'll say to me, well, you're the professional, you should know. Yes, I do know what Medicare plans are like, but I don't know what's best for you. What's your situation? See, for me, my parents, I was very self-disciplined because of my parents. No smoking, no drinking, no drugs. I haven't done any of that. I haven't even experimented with any of that. So when I make a vow as a Medicare agent, I want to uphold that vow. I don't want to get in trouble with HIPAA. I don't want to be in trouble where, I'm having this possibility I can go to jail or get fined or put the company at risk. So I'm astute in following that. But see, not everybody thinks that way. And I felt that as I was coming through my 20s. I said, well, doctors, lawyers, any professional, plumbers, I don't care who it is, not all of them are going to be upfront with you. But when you get that nugget, when you get that one person that says, hey, this is how we operate, and it resonates with you, that's what I felt when I listened at your presentation. I said, this is the company I'm going to go with.
Okay. And so since watching that presentation, how has your experience with the Yield School been?
Oh, it's been spectacular. No hiccups, man. It's just been a great connection. All of the people that worked for you, I've been able to reach out to whenever I have questions. If I have any doubts about certain sites, you guys have equipped me with, and I think it's probably the most important part of crypto. If you have any future people that are considering joining Yield School, protect what you invest in. You've got to know how to do that, because there's so many ways that people are getting scammed because they don't know. And you don't want to go through that experience of investing in something and then losing it all. It's, through a scam, it's just not a good feeling. Get in touch with, and not everyone's going to probably feel that way about Yield School, but take it from me. I've seen a lot of them. I've talked to a lot of them. You guys are the real deal. I've had a great experience with you. And I haven't even done the halving. That's the word I was looking for, the halving for the Bitcoin. This is the first time, but everything's lining up time-wise to where I'm in 10 different softwares, as you mentioned too. That's another part of the education you gave me. I'm investing just in software, but I'm in 10 of them now, and I'm profitable in 9 of them.
Great.
And the halving hasn't even happened. So I'm just sitting here and I'm grinning like a chess cat saying, wow, when this halving takes place, I think I might be in a good place. This really may work out to my advantage, where if it works out to where I get 5x or 10x on my money, I'll be able to leave the 8 to 5 job. That's how excited I am.
So how much money do you have? We can save those questions for after we're done with this section, actually, before I ask you anything too personal. Could you share maybe a success or a result, something that you felt has been a win for you since joining Yield School? You say you're profitable in 9 out of 10 assets you're in.
Yes.
Is that correct?
That's correct.
Well, that's incredible. Have you had any other successes aside from that, even though that's pretty incredible?
No. Well, I take that back. I have been successful. The one trade that I got involved in was a utility trade. Like I said, I've been going through YouTube and listening to certain people, and I got involved in 2022, I believe it was, in XRP. And the only reason I did that was because I did the research on it. And being a utility, showing that much promise, I was already familiar with the Swiss system. See, I'm in that generation where, it took 2-3 days to get money shipped across seas or across borders and that kind of thing. Well, when I heard that XRP was doing that in just seconds, and then I looked at the validity of the company, and what backed it even more for me was the fact that the government was attacking them in courts. I said, this must be the real thing. This XRP must be the real thing. And I started buying at 30 and 40 cents a token. So I did experience some growth there. I had put about $5,000 into that, now worth about 20 grand. So I've been waiting now a couple of years. Yeah, that's a phenomenal thing for me as well. But I honestly think by me lining up with Yield School, it's going to get even greater because I'm in more trades now. I was scared to get into anything else. When I met you guys, I just had XRP. Now I've got Bitcoin, and I've got some of the others, SUI. So I've got some other trades that I've got going, and they're all profitable right now.
Great. I'm glad to hear that.
Thank you.
Yeah, the cycle is looking strong. So as you continue with us, you're going to be getting these updates on where we think we are in the cycle. And it's our consensus that we're maybe going to see Bitcoin up at 250, 300K by the end of the year.
Wow.
And a lot of the other assets will be going up with it. We can't see the futures, of course, so maybe not, but generally things are lining up that way. Could I ask you, what do you like most about Yield School?
The mentor that you guys provide, the one-on-ones, those sessions. You did a great job of taking us from part A to part B to part C. I like the way you structured everything. I needed that in my life too, to be able to say, because you also mentioned, what's your lifestyle like? Are you one that has the extra time where you want to become an expert and you want to dedicate more than 10 hours a week at it? Or are you the one that's really busy and you can only do 1 hour a week or whatever? But that approach really hit home with me. And that way I knew exactly where I was, how much time I could put into it. Because even though I work full time, once I get involved in a project, especially something this important to me, I'll dedicate more than an hour to it, but it will be a minimum of an hour a week because I really want to learn this industry. I'm like you, I agree with you. This industry is going to be around for a long time.
And if you learn the foundations and you always try and learn information that is correct, when you learn more information, it builds on top rather than being contradictory, which is very helpful. Would you recommend Yield School?
Yeah, I wouldn't hesitate to recommend it. I've got a good friend of mine that is also interested. I think he's considering it right now. He just moved here though from San Diego to Las Vegas, and I think he's just trying to get his footing here. But he's showing some interest in it, so I wouldn't hesitate to tell people about Yield School and what you guys have to offer. Matter of fact, you'd be the only ones I would recommend at this point.
Great.
Yeah, because my experience is, trust me, everyone else is checked off. You guys are the number one company for me.
Nice, thank you. Have you used the support much, like the where you click the button on the app and then you can speak to the team about basically anything? Have you used that much?
Yeah, that's another great benefit for anyone considering Yield School because you never know what time these questions are going to hit you, and each time, I don't care if it's during Monday through Friday during work hours or if it's after hours, you can always hit that button, put your question in, and you'll always get a message back. We'll be back within 5 or 10 minutes with an answer, and they're usually back within just a few minutes, to answer any questions you have. So you have a great support system.
Have they always been able to answer your questions well?
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. I mean, I really love that. And they said, if you have any doubts too, I love that part of it too, because like I said, I'm still learning as I go. But the fact that I may get a recommendation on a token I'm not sure about, I can reach out to Yield School. They'll get back to me and say, yeah, this looks safe, or no, this doesn't look safe. But the one that I did, they did say, yeah, everything here looks safe.
Nice. Yeah, there's a lot of junk in the space, and so it's helpful to, especially if you're a working man, you don't have the time of day to go and do a lot of the work necessary to make sure that this is legitimate, and you also don't have that many hours outside of working and spending time with the wife, it sounds like. And so you really want to make use of that time. And so if you can go to our team and be like, hey, can you quickly take a look at this? And then we can give you just a check or an X as to whether it's legitimate or not. Yeah. I'm proud of that service.
Yeah, you should be. You've done a fantastic job with them, and by them following through and getting satisfied customers like me is just proof in the pudding that you've got something special here. So don't worry if people are still calling you a scam. They're going to come around. There's a lot of ambiguity in the markets now and in people. I'm seeing it everywhere I go. Because we've got a new administration. They're trying to turn some things around that weren't exposed when I came along between the 70s and 2000s. So, it's kind of a shock to a lot of people. And I think we still got some more shock to go, unfortunately.
Right. Yeah, I think I know what you mean. This administration has been it's been a lot of things, but when it comes to crypto, it has been positive, and I do think that's going to continue for the rest of the 4 years. And I'm grateful for it, to be honest.
Yeah.
One last question: who do you think would benefit the most from Yield School?
Well, coming at you as a beginner, you definitely need Yield School. Don't get involved in crypto if you don't know what you're doing or you think you're going to wing it. I wouldn't recommend that for anyone because you're going to get hurt.
Right.
And if you don't have the resources to bounce back, you're going to have a negative view of the crypto market as a whole. Try and get with a company like Yield School or with Yield School itself. Get with a company like them. So once that foundation's built, and that's another thing I thought about with myself, even though I'm 68, I plan to hit, the 100-year mark, before I leave here. And I'm constantly learning. I'm still, comprehending things. Then that's the kind of experience you want to have. If you have a bunch of experiences where it hurts you, you may say, you know what, crypto's not the real thing. I don't like it. It's a bunch of fraud that's involved in it. There are exceptions out there, and Yield School is one of them that I'm familiar with. You guys are the exception. You're the real deal. I haven't had anyone slight me. I haven't felt that I was wasting my time. I've learned everything that I need to learn, and I'm sure there's more for me to learn. Now, as I've become a little bit more seasoned, I still need you guys. That's another thing I thought of. I said, I'm investing in myself. I can be with these guys for the rest of my life. I can always come back to you. Even after this halving, if this sets me free where I don't have to work the 9 to 5, I'm still with you guys. And that's optimistic for me. That's everything for me. I wanted to have a continued relationship because you got a bunch of young people that, they've poured themselves, their energy into learning this market. And I want to absorb some of that. I don't have to have it all, but I do want to absorb some of that. You guys know how this whole thing works. And I'm not afraid to come to you. I'm not afraid to ask you questions. I'm not afraid to feel vulnerable. I just don't want to be vulnerable to the wrong people.
Right.
Where you get involved in a scam. I've heard of scams where people go on hundreds of thousands of dollars they've lost.
Yeah.
I've lost some money, but not like that. And I don't want to get in that position where I lose hundreds of thousands of dollars. I want to be in a position like you guys are teaching to really manage your risk, to be able to, you guys are doing all of the homework, but you give so many options, that's another beauty about your program. It's not like, okay, this is the one token here we think is a good thing to consider. My mentor was telling me, hey, you've got 8, 9, 10 options here, you want to look into with the blue chips, the mid caps, and then you have the one
Low
that
caps.
could be extreme. Yeah, the low cap. I love that. I love options, and you guys offer plenty of those for a client. So even if you're a seasoned person, even if you feel this market up and down, get with Yield School, man. It's going to be the best investment for you long term. It's going to be the best investment for you short term, because we're in a halving year. That's another thing. Your timing, by me seeing your presentation, I said, wow. With the halving and with this company, knowing that I've got full faith and confidence in them and the research they're presenting to me, I can't lose.
Right. That's actually the right mentality, because if you take care of yourself like you take care of that turtle, you will be around for a very long time. And crypto is actually short-term very volatile, but long-term it pays.
Yes.
It really pays. And a mistake a lot of people make is they'll maybe get burned in the short term, and then they look away for a few years. But what you need to do is just keep paying attention and learn a bit week after week. And then on the 5-year, 5 years is a long time for crypto. And so you're definitely going to be up, but especially on, say, the 10-year horizon,
right?
This is the only asset, 10 years in the traditional markets, maybe your portfolio is up 50%. Maybe 75%, right. But in crypto on the 10-year window, you're looking at 500%, 1,000% if you invested conservatively. And if you invested moderately with the
Mhm.
cycle. So you're
Mhm.
buying now and then you're selling towards the top of the cycle, maybe towards the end of this year or early 2026. Even in that time frame, you can do a 3x, 5x on your portfolio, depending how
Right.
you structured it, and not even being very risk on.
Right.
And so you've got the right mindset there. I would encourage you to just keep paying attention every week to what
Okay.
we're saying and the assets that we're putting out there. Who is the associate that you're meeting with?
Yeah, I knew you were going to ask me that, and I was trying to remember his name. Hang on.
Describe how he looks.
Let me see.
Young guy
Well,
loves crypto.
he's a young man. Let me think for a moment here. It'll come to me. Ryan Morris.
Oh yeah, Ryan. How has your time with Ryan been?
It's been fantastic. I mean, we vibrate on the same level. You know, he's jovial. He's appreciative. He's very considerate. He's very flexible as far as timing. Yeah, he's just been a gem to work with. Just really a nice guy.
Okay, I'm glad. We're lucky to have Ryan on our team. And our thought on this was actually aligned with what you were saying before. You can rely on us for our research. We're not in the medical field. We're not in construction. That's not our expertise.
Yeah.
We will try and do business with people who don't have 8 hours a day, 6 days a week to look at this market. And we will do that. That will be our expertise. And we'll do that happily because that's what we like to do. And we'll then come to you with that expertise about what we're learning and investing in the market ourselves, so that you can share in that benefit as well and learn the system to do it yourself if you choose to, or if not, you're with us for years. And so you can continue to rely on us into the future. And I'm glad that you've had a positive experience so far, Alphonso.
Thank you. Thank you, Frank.